Service innovations, share and sell. What did we cover last week? Modularization, how to understand how modularity can help us get close to the customers. And we looked at 3 different extreme models. Do it with me, do it for me, or do it yourself. And we looked at how and where it creates contribution for the business in terms of pricing for services. So today, practical examples of services to support new products, alignment of drivers to support new product introduction, and some examples to have a look at. And finally, with some principles to define metrics. By the end, you'll understand how to align service sales by alignment of drivers from outcomes. Good video to watch. This was new technology that was being introduced. Polaris creates electricity from waves. Why wave power? Well, wave power is all around. Big technology, a lot of new technologies coming in, and really which one's going to win. We're looking at one particular one, but this is some of the people who are stakeholders in here. They need to have in renewable generation. A little bit about the technology, relatively robust system. With the equipment contained within each section that generates a little bit of electricity, and it all adds up, and then it's all exported. Manufacturing assembly, relatively straightforward. Large steel structures with some specialist parts in them. This is a video from the showing in operation, a prototype in Scotland, one of the roughest areas where you can actually test these things. This is somewhere a little bit easier. This was in Portugal, the first commercial installation. A video about servicing the sea snake. So what happens during the normal life? It's always good to map it out. So we've got normal operations, routine monitoring goes on. Then we come for a revision, but we have to take it out and transport it to the quayside. Then we have to transport it back. Goes into normal operation. Here I've got a breakdown event on the after the second operations. It takes a little bit longer to get mobilized, repair it, and then put it back into normal operation. Remember that normally you'd have about 20 plus of these per commercial marine park. It's an engineered product, so what does it need? Condition monitoring, monitor the hydraulics, the generator, the power conditioners, the general condition. Planned overhaul, rust is an important aspect, repainting is very important on this thing. Inspection of hydraulics, cylinders, motors, generators, reservoirs, accumulators, piping and wiring. All of these can get damaged and wear over time. Unplanned, well, things break. Replacement parts, well, we need to replace parts that are worn out or broken. How do we deliver the outcomes now that the owner or operator needs to keep this piece of equipment working for 20, 30 years? I want you to think here about what point service should be first considered in the development of the new product. What services do you think the customers are expecting? The owners, the operators, the operations and maintenance team, what are they expecting to be provided? I want you to have a look at all the customer contact points over the operational life of the equipment. What outcomes are customers expecting from these machines? Bit of brainstorming there. What are they expecting? Why are they buying these machines? Okay, off to work. So this is my things that I'm looking at. Often the boat is missing. I think, as you've seen on the video, we actually do need the boat now to deliver the maintenance here, to bring the sea snake into the harbour so we can actually repair it and maintain it. We could do it with or without a boat, but we always need a boat. Risk of no boat, uncertainty. Is it going to be available when we need it? Benefits of own boat, well, we know we've got a crew there and it will be done. Solution here is actually to get a service contract for the boat, so a call-off contract requirement. You may have to pay in advance for this, but it's a way of actually ensuring that we get what we need when we need it. What we already see is very quickly with the shared boat, we're moving towards a joint service model for one specific aspect that's critical to the successful operation of this equipment. What I've done here is to break out what I think is the key outcomes. Renewable power, low cost power, and then we break it down into other aspects so we can get to the levers that we can actually contribute to. High availability goes without saying. Now, how do we get that? Reliable operation, slow degradation, short maintenance times. On the maintenance side, we can do increasing the periods between maintenance and simple maintenance procedures, basically to make it very simple for people to do it. Some of these things work counter to each other, so you have to understand the payoffs that deliver the outcomes which are necessary. So how do we drive out the cost of electricity? Look at the outcome, look at the ideas, consider the impact on the outcome and then the issues. This process really helps us to understand where the payoffs happen. And we can do this for all of these aspects in here. So we can actually understand how to drive the maintenance costs out and drive the availability of the plant up. And you see there's lots of things that we can do other than just doing more maintenance to improve the performance of the equipment, because that doesn't actually help necessarily with the plant. A model that I use a lot was produced by Alstom a few years ago, looking at purchase orders through to O&M, considering operations and maintenance contracts, service contracts and purchase orders, really going through the whole range of services that you might want and how they could be managed. You see the first layer there is optimizing cost and performance, then the other one is risk mitigation by transferring risk from one partner to another. It's a good model to consider. Examples of service alignment. Got two pipes here, pulling them together can be a bit tricky. We've got 9 examples, and I think they're all good examples, to be honest. Some are bigger than others, and what I'd recommend that you do is you actually have a look at these in the notes. London Olympics, great success, delivered on time, NEC3 contract. What worked, what didn't work. Building services tend to be very us and them, and they tried to actually share some of the outcomes. It's a complicated but open collaboration contract which supports itself to difficult projects. Scottish Parliament, here we had a cost plus contract for the project management, so they took 15% of the cost for project management, which meant that they ended up overrunning by several years and an awful lot of money. GE's contractual service agreements, different ways here, and you see the modularity beginning to come in of creating different service contracts which help you achieve what you actually want to achieve. This is very similar to the Alstom approach. I'd recommend that you actually have a look at this in detail as well. Rules. How do we manage this performance metric? Well, first of all, identify the customers. It seems very straightforward, and look at your customer's customer here. We need to look at both hard and soft aspects. We need to focus on the pains and gains of our customer, and that means understanding their business model. And we need to sit together with them and really go through that and understand that with them with the initial design. We need to identify the metrics that show project effectiveness, make the customer look good in effect. Without that, we can do a great technical job, but the customer doesn't look good. We need to have internal metrics then that ensure that the project is efficient and efficiently delivered. Really, really important. This is effectively cutting cost out so we get cheaper at doing and better at doing what we're doing. Limit your metrics and post them and review them regularly. I want to see how you're performing against these. Agree initial targets. We know what it is we're looking at. Now we've got to agree initial targets. How tough should we make them? Should they be achievable? Should they not be achievable? Should they be a stretch or not a stretch? Keep them simple. For the first year, it's good to have some which are achieved and some which are underachieved. But really believe, and both parties need to believe that they can be achieved. Be open and transparent. You need to be able to share these metrics together, and you need to be able to understand where you're doing well and why you're doing well, and where you're doing badly and why you're doing badly. Realign the metrics with the contract to make them tougher. This can be very difficult. It feels like contract renegotiation. It's not really, it's trying to stretch you. If you made 90% availability for the last 5 years and you say, well, it's 90 this year, it seems a little bit too easy. So they should be a little bit stretched every year. Understands the payoffs between the metrics. We don't get everything. Remember, some things win, some things lose. Yeah, then we have to understand which is the most important for us. And when I say us, I mean us and the customer. Okay, closing. By the end of the class, you'll walk through as an example based on new technology. You'll have a guide to show how to align drivers. We've got a set of cases, 9 cases of examples of alignment, some good, some bad. And you have a set of principles of how to define operational metrics. So now you should be able to support service drivers by aligning the outcomes. Thanks very much.